Hamid, thank you so much for joining us. Can you talk about the relationship between the need for open collaboration and tech innovation?
Thank you for having me. I believe open collaboration is critical to accelerate tech innovation. People tend to forget that it's already out there. If we think about the Linux Foundation and we think about Linux, it's actually already embedded in so many of the software that we are actually using. If we think about Wikipedia, it is the single source of information where you have hundreds of thousands of contributors making this source of information available to everyone and up to date and checked, offering a large amount of information to people who would not have access to this information otherwise. So those two examples shows that it's already out there. It's already accelerating innovation. It's already accelerating equitable access to technology.
How about the equitable adoption of technology?
That's a great question. First, if we think about consuming technology, the good thing about open source is that it's for free. So if you take, say, a tech company in a country in the global south willing to leverage open source assets to support a governmental project, for example, they can do that and they can have access to these resources for free. It means that it will allow them to develop a software faster, better, and at a good price to be able to compete locally. So that's the first element, consuming the technology. On the other side, it's also fantastic in terms of inclusion of developers all around the world to contribute to open source projects. And then you have also the ability of those developers from the global south to produce technology on the two sides. So open source and open collaboration is a nice way to ensure that we have onboarded developers from the global south to consume this technology and also to produce it.
We hear a lot about the possible negative outcomes of AI. What can institutions and corporations do to safeguard society?
It's again a great question because as when we talk about AI or any other technology, by the way, there is something that is really creating a challenge in the adoption is trust. So the good thing about open collaboration is that everything that is used is open. You have access. You can check what's happening there. So that ability to access creates trust. The second element is that you can have peer review by all the contributors and the user. So it brings that check and balance that ensure that we have embedded in the system all the component of ethical AI, for example. And we can apply that also to open data. These data that we use to train the models, sometimes we say, oh, by the way, this data is biased, okay? But if it's open, then people can make it better.
Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.